You know, there really isn't an easy way to put what I'm about to say, but if you own a PlayStation 4, it's time to abandon ship. The iceberg has been hit, the violins are being played, and the best thing that you can do if you're a PlayStation gamer is upgrade to the PlayStation 5. Because unfortunately, the days of the PlayStation 4 are extremely numbered.
Are you listening?
Welcome back, friends. 2022 is almost over, and if you've been following the news this year, today's story shouldn't be too much of a shock to you. But it seems like Sony has finally started to lay the groundwork for a full-on abandonment of the PlayStation 4, or at least that process has been greatly accelerated. And if we're being honest, I mean, this is just the natural cycle that we have with gaming consoles. Believe it or not, the last month marked the 2-year anniversary for the PlayStation 5. That console feels like it just launched yesterday. And typically, during the first couple years, console manufacturers try not to alienate the old player base by making sure that there's not a generational void where new games don't come to the older console. But unfortunately, in the case of the PlayStation 4, the reality is that console is now running on 9-year-old hardware. When the PlayStation 4 first came out, Barack Obama was still the president of the United States. Vine was dominating social media, and everybody and their mother had to upload a video of them doing the Harlem Shake. The Harlem Shake. Anyway, going back to the PlayStation 4, it does seem like we're hitting that point where the generational divide between the two consoles has just become inevitable. As in recent weeks, we've seen games like Hogwarts Legacy announce that the PlayStation 4 version of the game will launch 45 days after the PlayStation 5 version. And on top of that, the DLC expansion to Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores has been completely blacklisted for the PlayStation 4. And these games join an ever-growing list of titles that are now just PlayStation 5 exclusives. Gotham Knights completely skipped launching for the PlayStation 4 and is only available for PlayStation 5 players. Sony's exclusive Returnal was exclusive to the PlayStation 5, and that game probably will not be coming to the PlayStation 4, and we still have no word on whether or not Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart will eventually come to the PlayStation 4. And I genuinely think that this problem is only going to get worse. As games become more and more demanding from a tech perspective, the PlayStation 4 will be abandoned by developers. Now, to PlayStation's credit, they have made it very clear that they won't actively phase out PlayStation 4 games until the year 2025. With the head of PlayStation Studios, Herman Holst, telling Axios, "We certainly don't want to forget the millions of active players on PlayStation 4, and we want to ensure there are great games for them as well." Which is great, except Herman closed out that very statement by saying, "We're evaluating it on a case-by-case basis." Case by case. On one hand, you're saying you're supporting the platform until 2025, but then you say it's a case-by-case basis. I gotta admit, this is kind of sounding like a mob boss to me. You may get it, maybe you won't. Maybe you get this expansion, but you don't get this game, you know? We're not gonna forget about the millions of PlayStation 4 players, but if you upgrade to the PlayStation 5, maybe Uncle Herman can help you out a little bit. Now, probably the most important part to remember here is that Sony can say whatever they want, but if developers see porting their games to the PlayStation 4 as a time-consuming challenge that is impacting the overall launch of the game, they are going to abandon the platform. So like I said in the beginning of this video, if you've been holding off on upgrading to the PlayStation 5, right now is definitely a good time to do it. Because now, more than ever, it would seem like the games that are releasing, those developers are deprioritizing the older platforms. So if you care about playing the latest and greatest games and you don't want to miss out, it's definitely a good time to upgrade to the next generation. And luckily, the supply of PlayStation 5s are getting better and better. I mean, if we're being honest, it was getting a little Mad Max Thunderdome in the beginning, but now getting a PlayStation 5 is actually doable. But it is kind of interesting because while PlayStation seems to be taking the strategy of upgrade or die, Xbox, on the other hand, has almost made it their personal goal to eliminate the generational divide, as through Xbox Game Pass with Xbox Cloud Gaming, current generational games like High on Life, Forza, or Microsoft Flight Simulator can run on older generational consoles like the Xbox One via the cloud, kind of prolonging the life cycle of those older consoles. And while Sony does have cloud gaming as well, they've made it very clear that new games will not be releasing day and date like they do on Xbox. So if you want to stay in the Sony ecosystem and not be left behind, the answer from PlayStation is pretty clear. It's time to upgrade to the PlayStation 5.